Welcome everybody today to today's Learn and Burn. I am Brett Maycumber, founder and CEO of Cannakins Consulting. We establish licensed cannabis operators. And what that means is we are able to help individuals and companies seeking a cannabis operator's license from business startup, which includes licensing, getting an entity formed if you need, site surveys, feasibility surveys, all of that kind of pre-research and business development that needs to happen. After that, we work to build the facilities out. We have a background in construction and a really awesome team that can help build a facility, whether it's a small facility or anything for multi-state, multi-location operators. We're really here to provide that kind of support. And speaking of support, after the facility's built, what do you think needs to happen? Well, the facility needs to operate. So we provide that kind of operational support through our partners, many of whom are here today with solutions that can help optimize a facility, depending on if you had a chance to build it that way to begin with. We can bring in solutions to make you more efficient. Really, whatever our clients need, we're here to support. And then rounding out our services is marketing integration. What is a business without an ability to communicate with your customers and let them know what's going on? What services and products do you have that they may need? That's exactly why we're here today, right? We are here to let our operators know of some new technology that could potentially save them time, could potentially save them money, and make their operations just run more smoothly overall. So we're here to be a support partner for licensed operators, much like you would find in any other industry. Businesses like ours exist. They help scale the healthcare offices that you visit every day. They help scale the industrial plants that produce our goods. So, you know, it's a great time to be in this industry and to be able to be involved in the creation of this market. So today we're here with some really special guests. We have a couple companies that we want to introduce you to. We have a solution that we think is going to be really beneficial to cultivators, not just in cannabis, but also in other markets as well, where they grow food and items such as that. But today I want to introduce you to someone very special. His name is Dwight Hicks. If you're a sports fan or just the overall California fan, you may have heard of him. Most notably, he was a former NFL football player with the San Francisco 49ers. But today he joins us as an investor and a senior advisor to SenseTech, which is one of our companies that we're spotlighting. We're going to let him share some thoughts about his journey to what kind of brought him here and what SenseTech means to him and how they're helping farmers. Dwight, please, if you would.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good day. But what attracted me to SenseTech is when they started talking about pH and how it relates to helping the plants at the different areas of the facility. I was introduced to pH in, I'd say, almost 20 years ago. And pH, I really didn't know much about it. But then a friend of mine told me that things are either acidic or alkaline. And he says, look at it as far as a pool. When your pool is balanced and it keeps the bacteria out, it has a high pH or a balanced pH. And I'm like, okay. He said, but also your body, when it's in a very alkaline state, above 7.0, that there's no disease or viruses that can exist or procreate in an alkaline environment. So that sort of got my interest. So I said, is there any way that I can, keep track of my pH? He says, yeah, you can go to a drugstore and get a pH paper, which is a little strip, and like sort of like this tape, but it's smaller, it's thinner, and you could test your pH every morning or when you go to bed at night anytime by testing your saliva. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I started doing it to keep track of my pH, and found out that uh, my pH was okay. It was like 6.8. But I've also found out, and he gave me the information, that disease and viruses thrive 6.5 and below. And so I figured maybe I should try to get my pH up a little bit by diet and just being more alkaline, change my diet to a more alkaline diet. And so I did, and I started to see a improvement in my pH. And I felt that if my pH was high, that I would be healthier, my system would be healthier. And I don't get sick that much. I hardly ever get a cold. And if I get one, it's not there very long. I can't even remember the last time I took a flu shot, because I believe it's because my system is fairly alkaline. So when I was approached with SenseTech as far as um, uh, their technology as far as helping plants in a cannabis um, environment or enclosure, wow, my eyes perked up. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm interested in that. And so that's why I'm here, and I want to help promote SenseTech as far as the health of the cannabis plants.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Hicks. And also thank you for sharing with us more about the reason that we care why pH is important outside of the cannabis plant as well. There's many things that we're going to be able to do with this sensor. Today, our topic is on cannabis cultivation, but we're going to encourage our viewers to come back and see what other aspects of life that we can help with this pH sensor. Like you mentioned, it can touch healthcare. There's some other things that we're interested in monitoring that could be in our food. So really, we're talking about our own health, food, and even plant science when we're dealing with this sensor. So we're glad to have you aboard. Thank you for bringing your experience and your wisdom to the table and helping us get this product out there.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit kind of about why we're here from our partner perspective. We want to talk a little bit about Silicon Valley Advantage. We've mentioned SenseTech, and SenseTech is part of the Silicon Valley Advantage portfolio. Silicon Valley Advantage, or SVA, is an accelerator. It's an innovation lab. They're really here to help businesses develop into the American markets and additional markets as needed. They have offices and connections all over the world. They're also an innovation lab. They have in-house inventors and developers that can help companies as they need to be able to develop different custom solutions through their growth process and even find strategic connections. And then another thing they do is help with IP licensing. So once we get the business going, and even before, ideally, and we have things rocking and rolling, you want to be able to protect your business and the things that you're creating and the ideas that you have. So that's the third pillar that they bring, is being able to develop the business, being able to support the business throughout growth, and then being able to protect the business as it creates things that differentiate it between its competitors. Some of the areas that SVA works in is life sciences, medical devices, biotechnology, which is really cool. I hope to do some biotechnology in the future. There's some edge computing and Internet of Things, which applies to our SenseTech solution that we're talking about today. They also get involved in business formation and business structure. Again, that's something that a lot of us help with, because when you're starting a business, you have to know what things to do in order so that you don't have to go back. And really, it's beneficial to have people who've done it before along for the ride. So some additional partners that we want to mention from SVA is iStorage. There's some storage solutions that I think are really cool that we're going to talk about in some additional webinars in the future. We want to make sure that the data that we have is secure. And then some additional health things talking about intracellular delivery of macromolecules. Excuse me, I couldn't even pronounce that, so let alone understand exactly what that's all about. But that gives you an idea of kind of the different technologies that SVA is working with. They're looking to help out over here, help out over there, and really bring complementary technologies to the table. So I really enjoy seeing what they're doing. It's been a great adventure partnering up with them. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a screen share, and we're going to have their CEO, Gloria, do a couple-minute presentation on the company, and then we'll have some more information, and we'll end up today with some question and answers. So thank you guys, and let's get switched over here to some screen sharing for a moment.
Hello, I'm Gloria Maseko.
Could everyone hear that before I go too much further? I believe I've shared my computer sound.
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gloria Maseko, CEO and co-founder of SenseTech, and I'm happy to introduce our company to you today. We are the designer and manufacturer of one-of-a-kind pH sensor that is a game changer in monitoring and measuring continuously a pH for a number of areas. The disposable nature of our sensor is very different than what's available in the market today. Many of you that grow plants indoor and outdoor and soil or hydroponically, as well as measuring water, soil, and absorption of plant and food, and monitoring the fermentation of food and beverages, are already familiar with how important pH is, and the only devices that are available today in the market are glass rods that typically can measure the pH manually, and then they have to be cleaned and calibrated. We have designed this pH sensor to be a game changer, so that is disposable. It is connected to our wireless reader simply, and when it's after the use of the lifetime of the plant or the fermentation process, is simply disposed of, and a new sensor replaces it. This allows automation and scaling like nothing before. Many of you currently use sensors to automate your facility, such as moisture sensor, temperature sensor, and this pH sensor is a perfect complement and is the missing ingredient from the series of sensors that are available in the market. We look forward to working with each and every one of you in the process of automation, keeping your plants healthy at all times, as well as whatever other food and product you're measuring for which pH is important. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Gloria, for sharing that with us. So now we're going to talk a little bit about SenseTech, since Gloria was so kind enough to give us that introduction. So again, SenseTech is among the portfolio of companies presented to us by Silicon Valley. What they are presenting to us is being presented as a new breed of pH sensors. This is a single-use sensor that we think will be able to really improve the life, if you will, of cultivators and growers across the board. One of the reasons is that because, measuring pH today, when we talk to our farmers, we find out that, that requires someone going into the facility, going into the different grow containers or going to the different trays and so on and so forth, depending on how you have your setup laid out. And then, you have to take the measurements and you record them, and then you have them stored somewhere, but they're probably not really being assessed from a data perspective as far as like real-time inputs or having, a program or an AI, if you will, on the back end, analyzing the information. pH measurement today for cultivators and growers is adequate, but we want to see what happens next and be able to provide a solution to get us to that next step. Applications are agriculture, medical, and food safety. Again, we'll be doing some additional presentations on applications that are outside of the cannabis space in the future. But what we want to do now is we actually want to introduce a video of Tom, and he's going to get a little bit more in depth into what the solution actually looks like. He's going to get it connected up for us and give us a little bit more of a visual perspective of the sensor and reader. So we'll switch over now to some screen sharing mode again.
Hi, I'm Tom Timer, part of the SenseTech team, and today we're showcasing our network of pH sensors that are continuously monitoring and actively processing your pH data. The entire system begins with a simple, lightweight, disposable pH sensor that is inserted into the soil, liquid, or product that you need to monitor. Each of the sensors will be accompanied by a reader which interprets the data. The data is then sent off to a local hub by a wireless connection, and from the hub up to a cloud location where you have exclusive access that is also by a wireless connection. So how do you get all these pieces working? Very simply by using the SenseTech app on a phone or similar device. By acquiring information from the hub, from the reader, and from the sensor, the app will put that information together, transmit it to the hub, it gets pushed up to the central location, and now this device is working. I go on to the second, third, fourth device, and just as quickly, I have my network now reporting all the individual data, but all accessible and readable from a central location. That cloud location allows you to access the information on any sort of device where you can connect to the web. From there, you're able to see the performance of any individual sensor reader combination. You're able to see pH history that is associated with each of the individual sensor reader combinations. You can run reports on that information, and you can also set up alarm thresholds. So if at any time you are out of whatever threshold you define, it can notify you by text, by phone, on the console itself, and it can even illuminate an LED on the reader itself, so you know right there on the shop floor if there's a problem. So that's it, an entire system collecting data, continuously analyzing, continuously available to you.
Great. Thank you, Tom, for that presentation. So we had planned on having an actual live demo today, but our engineer that was going to do that for us was unable to make it. So we're going to switch up our format just a little bit, and we'll probably have you guys out of here definitely faster than an hour. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and keep the screen share going here. But I'm going to present a couple slides that they have for us so that we can actually get a look at the user interface from the SenseTech solution. You can see here that it's quite comprehensive. This is the management dashboard from the online portal that we were talking about earlier. Whenever this device is connected to the reader, which is inserted into the soil, wirelessly transmitted through the network and out to this cloud platform, this is actually what you see. This is the result of all of that data processing and that automation and the Internet of Things all coming together as we as humans like to see it in this graphical user interface that makes it easy for us to read, easy for us to intake. but this is thousands and thousands of data points. So really interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes of these screens, in addition to actually what is presenting to us at face value. So if you look over here, you have a number of different dashboards. There's some mapping and geofencing that I find very interesting, again, for some larger locations or multi-location, multi-state operators. You can get some device alerting and uptime info, because we also want to know what's happening with our devices, not just what's happening with the plants. Because if our devices aren't working right, then we may not be measuring our plants appropriately. Excuse me. You can see there's an operations tab where that has a lot of information about how the facilities may be running. We're going to talk about some future potential integrations at some point in some future webinars that we're going to have to where we could actually be looking at an entire picture. But we're going to start out with pH, because pH is very important to the plant health and plant life. pH actually impacts how well the plant is able to uptake nutrients. So different pH balances and ranges within the scale will actually determine whether a plant can pick up a nutrient here, a nutrient there, or if they just overall can't pick up nutrients if the pH is off that badly. So again, like Mr. Hicks mentioned, we know pH very well, but maybe just not when we think about it specifically. If you can remember, there's even deodorant commercials on TV that used to speak about a pH balance that was provided by the deodorant. So pH has been around for a long time. We're not just talking about it because it's new as an indicator of health. It's just something that we're learning how to test, how to measure and test even better and better as we go along. And so moving along, though, we can see that there's additional things over here. It looks like you can run a simulation. I haven't had a chance to play with that yet. And then some additional developer tools over there. And then this is just an additional page. There's an app that was mentioned. So you can pull up the app on your phone, which makes it easy. You don't have to be right in front of a computer or a laptop. You can get your readings and know what's going on from your mobile device. While you're potentially at other facilities or out talking to people about this awesome cannabis that you have coming to market, how much they need to try it and how much they need to stock it on their shelves. You could even pull out your app and say, look, we monitor our pH and we take our plant health very seriously. So just a lot of cool things that you can do with applications like this when you're either in a sales position, out promoting your company, or even just kind of hanging out with your friends. Hey guys, do you want to see what my grow's up to? Pop it open while you're having a sesh. Technology really kind of makes our lives easier. It helps us, enjoy things a bit more. So I think that this is really going to be something that growers and cultivators of all industries and communities would definitely like to have and get a chance to take a look at. All right, so we will end our screen sharing presentation for the moment. Okay, thank you guys for joining us and learning more about Silicon Valley Advantage, about SenseTech and the pH sensor that we're bringing to market, why it's important, why we care about pH, why individuals such as Mr. Dwight are joining the team and not only providing their insights from experience perspective, but also providing some of that investment backing that's really important to be able to get these things to market. So today, in lieu of our additional demo, we do want to talk to you guys about another product that we have. And then we'll open up to some questions. We're just going to give you a brief little preview of something that we'll be discussing in some future webinars. But I'd like to introduce you guys to our chief scientist, Mr. Ken Salzman. He's going to talk about a smart tablet that we feel is complementary to some of our operators that are interested in security, maybe some additional things around managing your facility from a video surveillance perspective. It works well with some other systems. So we wanted to provide you with this additional information as kind of a value add today. Please, Ken, would you share with us what we would like to present to our viewers here?
Yeah, we're kind of excited to get a chance to talk to people about it. Do we have the unit available?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a video of it.
Oh, okay, that's even better. We have a video we can show you of what the actual work is. But essentially, this combines kind of the latest state-of-the-art in cameras, both the ability to look at standard color images of people as they approach a facility, as well as infrared, so we can actually measure the temperature. We can also see at night. But the really nice thing is for protecting the personnel, as well as making sure the facility is biologically clean. We can actually measure the forehead temperature of people as they approach to make sure that none of them have COVID or none of them are sick or anything like that, where they could actually get a transmittable disease into the facility that might bother other people that are working there, or like I said, in the worst case, could actually get into a plant or something that might get to a customer later on.
Yep, exactly. So we're finding that this is helpful in a number of applications. And we also want to make sure to point out that there's not a security issue with this, because we're not trying to keep people's pictures and faces. We have the ability to make sure that that information is not stored, and that we're not, doing facial recognition to the extent to where there's a security breach as well. This is meant to solely, be able to add that additional information and layer of protection to the business, and it's not something that's getting siphoned off into some database somewhere or anything like that. We do have a video that we're going to share. We have another one of our team members, Bob O'Donnell, and then we'll close out with some questions and one last teaser about some upcoming information that we're going to share. So one moment, we'll go back to the screen sharing mode, and then we'll let you guys move on with your day, maybe even grab a little lunch in this lunch hour.
I think Bob's going to video stuff.
I'm Bob O'Donnell, an applications engineer for Silicon Valley Advantage. I'm going to demonstrate a new piece of technology today that we found exciting and timely. This is our thermal scanning camera with integrated AI and access control options. The image in the upper right is the live view from our camera, and in the lower left is the configuration screen that I'll be getting to later. This device continuously scans the scene in front of it. When it sees any face, it measures the temperature, prints it on the screen, and delivers a message. In guest access mode, it does not need to identify the person to grant access. The live video feed can be monitored remotely over an IP connection. For this demo, we quickly added a small stoplight, flashing green if access is granted and red if access is denied. This could easily be changed or added to a buzzer system to alert staff. Demo time. First, I'll lean into the picture without a mask. It will highlight the edges of the screen in yellow, as well as flash the red light I set below it.
Please wear a mask.
Now, with the mask, it will highlight the edges with green this time and flash the green light below.
Please wear a mask. Please enter. Unverified person.
Sometimes it has a little more to say. An obvious use case would be a school entrance. Instead of having a staff member monitor every person with a handheld thermometer by approaching closer than suggested social distance, this system does it for you. If it detects a high temperature, it will alert verbally, it will alert audibly, and highlight the edges with red. We'll do the same, but with yellow edges if masks are required. As an added bonus, kids appear to love it, at least mine do. Settings do include the ability to turn off image logging if privacy is a great concern. The system also includes AI for identification. I've tested and even developed my own face recognition AI systems, and this one is excellent. It needs only a single picture added to its database to recognize the person. It does an excellent job of identifying people if they are wearing a mask. This system can integrate with Wiegand-compatible devices like card key scanners for two-factor authentication. It includes all of the obvious integrations like external databases and logging, as well as email notifications. Physical connections include UART, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi. It also includes USB for near-field or barcode readers, along with two digital outputs, the alarm and the door open. The bottom line for this device: it's a thermal scanner for fever detection. It has optional logging. It has optional face recognition. It has remote monitoring and easy integration with existing security systems. We think it is very effective, well thought out, and a great value. Thanks.
And thank you, Bob. We appreciate that. So that's definitely a versatile system, Ken. So I was thinking of some additional use cases whenever we were having that demonstration. So I really like the mask verification. Beyond having to do, temperature scans and things like that, I think that a simple mask verification for areas where they still may be important in the future. We know that there's been many communities outside of the U.S. that have worn masks for a long time. So this could be used in that instance. What are some other things that you think we could be using this solution for?
Well, this can cover a lot of applications, like you said. When you've got people coming into a facility, as Bob was showing, you can actually control who it is. You could also, something that's not mentioned too much when people are thinking about this, this will allow a person to come in to a correct part of the facility. So you can sit there and say, all right, you're cleared to come into, like, say, the front of the facility, but not into the farming area or whatever it is that that facility is designed to handle. And so that actually lets people kind of control how people are traveling through the facility, so that just doesn't let people wander around anywhere that you may not want them.
Excellent. So, we're really talking thematically today about building automation and the Internet of Things and different ways that we can make our working environment safer, easier to do our jobs, more efficient, and have more information overall, more information about what we're producing, how it's being produced, information that, yes, it has been kept secure. There haven't been people in there messing around with them, right? So we're talking about an overall approach here, and so Silicon Valley really has had a good hand in presenting these solutions to us. So we want to thank you guys for bringing this information to us today. We're going to open it up for any questions and answers that we might have now from our audience. You can raise your hand. I'll see if I can set people to unmute themselves. No questions for today? Okay, fair enough. I know sometimes on these lunch hour webinars, we want to get the information and be able to sneak a bite in before we head back to work. One last thing I want to leave you guys with. We've mentioned a whole bunch of technology today. We're definitely, this isn't going to be the last. We want to invite you to join Cannakins and also Silicon Valley Advantage in the future for our Learn and Burns. You can find Cannakins online at cannakins.com. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Cannakins, as well as Instagram. You can find us on LinkedIn if you search Cannakins. So we're available on all the socials. You can also reach us via contact@cannakins.com. And keep us in mind and keep us on your radar for future collaborations with SV Advantage and SenseTech. In the future, one thing that we're interested in talking about is how do we integrate these sensors with perhaps our LED lighting and additional building controls. So we're going beyond pH. We'll be talking about integrations with LED lighting. We have some cool companies that we're going to be able to share additional information with you about in future webinars. So again, thank you for coming and have a great day, friends.